This video is a presentation of what the future Forever 21 PDP will look like for the mobile and desktop website later in the summer of 2023. This high-fidelity mock-up will be worked on towards the end of the summer by the engineering team, and after user testing has completed with it, and should be ready for the fall of 2023, just before the Christmas rush. Now, I've always approached things mobile first, so let's go ahead and start the mobile side of things. Here we have a mobile default and a mobile on scroll. Now, I wanted to show these things in parallel with one another so that you see as soon as one initiates any activity on the screen, this is going to go away. The header is going to change and change into a very thin strip to allow us to have lots of room for us to see the product imagery. There's tons of wasted space when it comes to having these headers on the original. You'll see and you'll note that if we took the viewport window, we're at 28% of it just being the header alone. We found a way to minimize things where needed and, of course, bring things back up as needed once you scroll back up again. But we were able to bring the 28% down to 11%, and we feel this is a much better solution. The extended search you see on the initial header was very important in other parts of the website, and it is still important, of course, on the product page, but we're trying to have the focus of the customer on the product and not other products. The goal is to determine if the product price, color, and look is something that the customer wants. Our goal is to get them the one step closer to the checkout. Everything else is secondary and should recess in the periphery. And we believe the solution on the left-hand side will do just that. Size is important. With limited space and losing the fight to keep the promotion banner at the top, I wanted to jettison this while we're on the PDP page. Concessions had to be made for the PDP, and you'll notice that one thing that a lot of our customers want to have is the size. Do you have it in stock? And we found that we're running out of room. So I'm going to jump into this. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the top. Here we go. On scroll, and just imagine we put it on scroll, this is showing you the minimal header across the top. There's that promotional banner that the business team is insisting that it stays up until we do more user testing. The user, of course, can scroll left and right to see the multiple images that we have. And it was very important for us not to try to chop the image in half. You'll find that when it comes to some of these, we would have tens of thousands of images we have to change the aspect ratio. So in this case, we felt that having a bit of a peek to the images to the right and to the left was a good way for someone to reinforce that this little slider was going to work for them quite well. So again, customers are looking for product imagery, price, and color as their most important things. Size is a little flexible. You'll find folks being a little more flexible with that. So this is the reason why, again, you'll see the size just below the fold. Now you can initiate the size of this piece by clicking back and forth and adjusting your colors to see what possibly could be there. But again, we wanted to make sure that we did not change the aspect ratio of the image. And that there's another reason too. I mean, when you look at swimsuits, this area here below the waistline is extremely important for females to purchase clothing. If you would cut that off, the folks would not have any idea if this is a French cut bikini or a one piece, excuse me, or as a lower cut. This is important for them. So again, we wanted to make sure we didn't cut any of those pieces off. This is a very important section for our page. We're just now experimenting Forever 21 with BOPUS. Now, we don't have the ability just yet to show what the products are. We can show that the products are in stock, but we don't really have the ability just yet with logistics to show how long it's going to take to get there. Rather than having this off of the site, we felt it was important stuff to have at least this information for now, anticipating, of course, that knowing when the date is that they can receive the item is only going to increase our conversion rate for our customers. In this location, unavailable at Hollywood and Highland for the store, they do have the ability to check other nearby stores for this without changing their core store. So this is a technology improvement we're working on right now currently at Forever 21. I'm going to scroll up, but this button, once this is on the screen, we'll lose this locked footer here. That's only, of course, because you don't want to have two buttons on the screen at one time, of course. Let's just imagine we've gone up this far and then this has reappeared on the screen. Yes, it's important to have some detail, but it's also important that we don't overload our customers with information. So we've purposely placed content and care, size and fit shipping, and other things behind an accordion so they can access this when needed. They want to know what the reviews are. They want to know how well this has been received as a product. But bringing that down a little lower on the page allowed us to have other information, which was critical for the purchase, to be above the fold. And this is a really important uh, partnership we've had most recently with a group called Stylytics. Complete the Look allowed us to take the garment, place it in the exact middle of the frame, and then arrange a confection of other types of things around it, products that they may be interested in. I think it's a lot more effective than this other solution we saw, where you would have the pieces in a list below it. But in this case, you can then click on, of course, shop, and you can click in these pieces and add them right to it. You may also like, always important for us to find opportunities for them to upsell and increase more of this revenue as much wherever possible. In this case, of course, if they click into these pieces, this may also add to the average order value. We've changed up the footer just a bit to include more information. We've simplified it from what they currently had on the website. We feel this is a much better, simple way for them to get into a footer without having too much information. Again, having them easily find their way back into the main imagery for the PDP. Going over to the desktop version of this, I'm going to show you. Here we go. Let's look at the original. The original desktop solution had a lot of negative space issues. In fact, too many to name, really. We had a huge promotional bar up in here with lots of extra negative space that wasn't being used effectively. We had product information on the left, where traditionally it's either here on the right-hand side or down below the image. And we had a very challenging area here on the right-hand side to try to deal with the different colors. You know, you see how things are going on different lines. You couldn't tell if this was a size or if this is the number of items they had in stock from some of our customer complaints. The call to action wasn't as prominent as it could be, and it seems that the social media is competing with almost all this other information on the page. The dots in the wrong location, they probably should have been registered here across the bottom to be consistent with other competitors. And here we have opportunities that you may also like and often bought with have been, you know, scrunched together, and so that you wouldn't know to click on this to anticipate. In fact, it wasn't even aligned in the middle of the picture frame. So the sloppiness of the aesthetics were also something that we wanted to address as well. Finally, here toward the bottom, this goes to a lot of that cognitive noise I was talking about a few moments ago. This many products on one page is a hard sell for folks to be able to read it. Your brain kind of turns off when you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of content just associated with a small thumbnail. In fact, the content's almost as high as a photograph. And the footer led a lot to be desired. You didn't really have that compartmentalization that you need to have for a footer to see where things are being applied. We went ahead and addressed the negative space issue, but that helped us resolve a lot of problems. On the right over here, you can see quite quickly the name of the product you're looking at, a much more truncated breadcrumb trail, relevant sales information very close to the colors and the sizes. I want you to take into consideration on here on the right-hand side in pink, this is 1080. That's the size of an old monitor, maybe 5 or 6 years old. It doesn't have very high resolution. We want to ensure that all this action stuff is all above the fold of the page. And you can anticipate a customer being able to make those decisions regarding BOPUS, regarding how the product fit works with the sizes and the color availability, all in one location. If I scroll down a little bit lower, you'll also see that we have retained some things. You'll see save for later, which is commonly placed over here, has been placed on the right-hand side to give it a little bit of a work here with the share with a friend. We don't know if these are going to work through the next round of testing. Some user testing we're hearing from some of our customers, our 26-year-old customers are saying, hey, last thing I want is for me to share this with a friend and she buys it before I do. So we may not see this. They can always share with friends by copying the address, if you will. But we're finding this is not something that they would like to use quite often. If I scroll down a little bit lower, again, you'll see parity from what we have with the mobile site. This was done mostly, of course, to help us with some of the engineering budget that we have to beat these things. And it's very rare, of course, that someone goes from the mobile phone to the desktop. But again, saving wherever we can to ensure that the product loads fast. We're not chasing around 100 pennies, just 4 quarters in this case. So our components have parity across the platforms. And there you see that complete the look, that plugin we were talking about from a third-party company called Stylytics that did just a great job of allowing you to see how you can extend this initial product with an assortment of products around it. Let's see, we move down a little bit lower. You may also like, again, a nice little section down here. We've minimized the amount of lines of text so people can see just how much information they need to see in the periphery. And I believe we did a good job with the footer. We've compartmentalized some of these components into sections so that people can see like information. We do want them to download a rep. We do want them to sign up for email addresses with us and get registered so that we can learn more about our customers and get customer data. And we also want to move down in here into the footer and organize this information. Of course, I don't have that finished just yet, but you'll see how we're organizing the information for our product areas and, of course, who we are, all important careers, especially in this very competitive environment, and, of course, our privacy policy information there at the bottom.